The world is way too much right now, so we need some good human shenanigans that everyone else on this world likes to call drama, and that includes myself. And even though most of these things are also going to be slightly infuriating, they will be a good distraction from what is happening in the world. And we all need that right now, I feel like. At least I do, so that's why I made this. I compiled some stories for us to look at and to react to. So grab your tea or your other beverage of choice. I have a cup of water and a cup of coffee in my coffee mug that is destroyed. Anyways, grab your coffee or tea, because tea is more appropriate, I would say, but I love coffee. I also love tea. And your crochet project or other craft projects, or simply just exist because you don't have to craft while watching my videos. I always craft while watching other people's videos, so that's why I say that. And wait a second. If you like someone rambling on the internet about things that are very confusing, and if you want to get confused too, please consider subscribing, because I do that every single week on here. And also, I'm going to art school, and if you subscribe, you would help me doing that, and I like that, and that's great, and I appreciate that a lot. And I'm trying to gather 1,000 of you before the start of summer, and we are well on the way, so thank you for that. Anyways, now let's get started. The first post that I wanted to share with you is called "Am I Overreacting or Is My Boyfriend?" It has a text chain, and I will read that to you right now. "I still don't understand why you don't want me having guy friends anymore." And then there's a smiley face, and it says, "Because you effed one of them." And it's just plain dirty. I'm not even friends with that guy anymore. You have girlfriends? And did I do one of them? Question mark, question mark. No. Then there is some explanation. Okay, so I've, female 18, been with my boyfriend, male 19, for 4 months, and we recently got high and had a deep conversation about our past flings or whatever. Being high and having a serious conversation and taking the conversation very seriously. I've never been high before, so I don't know if this is right, but it doesn't sound like a very great idea. Like, please have those conversations when you're sober. But let's get on. Came up in the convo, and I mentioned effing one. I want to say these words, but it's too early for that. So I mentioned effing one of my past guy friends when I was 16, and that's how I lost my virginity. This was random and was not meant to happen. We got drunk together during summer 23 on a beach and just ended up doing it. I don't even remember half of it, and I cried for weeks afterwards, because I've always told my girlfriends that I want to save myself for someone I actually want to be with. I told my boyfriend all this, and he now doesn't want me having guy friends anymore, even though I'm not even friends with that guy anymore because I ended up dropping him. My boyfriend will still have girlfriends. I brought this up again today over text, and he called me or the situation dirty and is still stuck on me not having guy friends. Oh my god. Okay, first of all, you guys are really, really young. I'm not sure if I would call 18 being a real adult. Like, it is, but it isn't, you know? 18 is like the age where you start learning how to be an adult. When you're 18, being stuck on something that happened when you're 16, that's like an entire world of differences. Anyways, talk about drama, because this was drama, I feel like. Anyhow, I've never really understood how people in relationships, or specifically straight people, can be like, you cannot see or be friends with someone that you would be attracted to, most likely the other gender, even though there are more than two genders. But for straight people, like, imagine if someone is pan and their partner started doing that, then they cannot even cook anymore. Okay, that was a very bad joke, but like, then they cannot really see anyone ever again. That's not a joke. If a partner would be doing that to a pan person, they cannot really be friends with literally anyone, technically speaking. Also, you're not attracted to everyone that you could be attracted to. That goes for literally everyone on this world, so it doesn't make sense. Someone actually told me this story last week about their bi friend having a boyfriend, and the boyfriend is forbidding her from seeing other guys or being friends with other guys, and not forbidding her from being friends with other people that are not guys. So that doesn't make any sense. It's like only guys are threatening to their relationship or whatever, which also says a lot about the world, I think, we live in, but we're not going into that today. That's not for today. Anyhow, this guy is so insecure about something that happened even before they started dating. Like, there's 2 whole years in between that, and this girl isn't even friends with him anymore. Do you see how that sounds? Totally ridiculous, and it doesn't make any sense, and this shouldn't happen. So my advice would be to break up with him, because he's not worth your time. A relationship is built on mutual trust, and this guy doesn't trust you, and for some reason that also sounds like you shouldn't be able to trust him. Or at least he doesn't trust you, and that will go horribly wrong, or already has gone horribly wrong. It doesn't work, and it's not going to work out, sadly. I'm sorry, but there needs to be trust, and there's no trust. This is already a disaster. I love humans. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Do I need to step in? My best friend is my age, 22, and recently had a baby with her boyfriend, 27. At this point, they've been together for 1.5 years-ish, and she was pregnant after they dated for 8 months. They had been together for 6 months when she found out so many bad things and that he was cheating via nudes to multiple other girls, saying I love you to his ex, hiding an STD, reversible luckily, finding a ranking of the girls he slept with, where his ex was number one. All this was discovered over the course of a couple months since he kept lying and continued the cheating. She then forgave him and decided to get pregnant and keep the baby to help their relationship get stronger. Yeah, it doesn't really work like that, I think. He never asked if she was on birth control, and they didn't take any precautions to avoid pregnancy. She was unsure if she'd actually keep it at first, but then didn't want to be punished by Jesus. At this point, I was urging her to not keep the baby. Her boyfriend was a cheater, ugly too, and she had 1 semester left of college, was already behind on courses and tens of thousands of dollars in debt. Okay, so about trust, I think a new relationship should be built on trust, but once that trust is broken so horribly as this one has, there's no going back, I think. There's no starting over. Like, I feel like you should get a clean slate at the start of a new relationship, depending on the circumstances, but in general. But this is not a trustworthy guy, and all of this happened while they were already in the relationship. So this is not a trustworthy guy, and I feel like girlfriend person needs to run away, or should have run away like a year ago when all of this came out. This is an example of too much trust. I'm not even sure if this is trust at all. She decided to keep it, and he promised he'd change. But of course, the cheating continued. Across months, there's been secret Instagram accounts following his ex and OnlyFans models, more deleted messages with girls, and a nasty group chat saying awful things about my friend and their unborn baby and more. What? That's just mean also. Just besides all of the distrust going on here, or should be going on here, it's also just very, very mean. Like, why is this guy even in this relationship if he's just saying mean things about her too? That doesn't make sense. All with the same, he will change, and I swear he loves me, he's just messed up. He's a blue-collar ex-military, so he's doing well financially and decided to get a mortgage on a house. This house so happens to be close enough to his ex's house that they can connect to her Wi-Fi. Like, come on. These people sound delusional. Well, especially the girlfriend, actually. There are so many red flags. Like, there's just red flags all over. It's like their house is just a tent of red flags. Where's the red flag guy? Has he seen this? I love him, by the way, but that's not relevant. There's so many red flags. Okay. Now, this whole time, she only told myself and two other close friends about all of his mistreatment. She has a supportive and close family, sister, mom, dad, brothers, who all think her boyfriend is some great guy. I've come so close to reaching out to her sister and telling her, but I never wanted to cross that line. The baby is here and 1 month old. One night, when he's watching the baby while she sleeps, she puts in his AirPods to use the noise cancellation. When she puts the AirPods in, Siri begins to read dirty, explicit messages he's actively receiving from some woman. Turns out he cheated on his ex with this girl, and they are just friends. She still loves him and is still going to stay, and her family has no idea. What should I do? I want to support her since she just had a baby and already feels like shit. Do I do an intervention? Do I let her live with the choices she made that will only hurt her and her baby? Do I reach out to her sister? I don't know. There's so much going on here. First of all, I think that OP gives a lot of F's about her friend, and it sounds like they want to do something, so I think they should. Maybe the girlfriend person feels trapped and there's something more going on behind the scenes. I feel like we're missing some information here, because I just cannot fathom being this delusional. But you never know, I guess. If she's actually this delusional, I feel like she's in some way scared to be single. I think a lot of people are sort of desperate to be in a relationship, which is why there are so many of these half-working relationships. Like, this one doesn't work at all, but there's so many of these half-working relationships that are not really healthy, but are not really harmful, but are not great, or something like that. And it's sad. Like, I'm talking here about the people who complain that they're single on days like Valentine's Day or around that. And I also think that I should really shut up about this, because I have a wonderful, loving partner and I'm very grateful and very happy for them. But still, I have things to say about this. But also, the people around me in my own bubble are more single than not single. Like, most of them are single, and that's fine, because we're still young, and even if you're older, a relationship should only happen if it adds something good to your life, and not in any other case, I think. And that should be the very bare minimum. But in this Reddit post, there's so much going on that I cannot actually believe that this person is just being so delusional. There were so many red flags that I still feel like we are missing something, and I also hope that is the case. Well, I also don't hope that's the case, because that would be very very, very bad, but also being this delusional sounds impossible. Or like, maybe if you're really this delusional, there's no saving you. I don't know if that's mean, but there's so much going on here. Jesus Christ. Okay, too much. Next one. The night we pulled off a massive Taco Bell heist. Back 20 years ago in high school, me and a group of friends were starving. This was probably after a night of partying. We were all broke, but one of our friends did have some money. We came up with a plan to rip off Taco Bell. I'm not proud of it, but in high school we all did a lot of dumb shit. There were about 7 of us riding in 2 cars. 5 were in the first car and me and a buddy alone in the second car. First car rolls in through the drive-thru, orders about $50 worth of Taco Bell. $50 20 years ago got you a shit ton of Taco Bell. The one friend with the money paid for the food and we waited for the poor lady working the late shift to hold out a massive bag of tacos and burritos. First car opened the window just a little bit so that the lady would hold the bag out from the pickup window just long enough for me to jump out of the second car and run full speed to take that bag like a running back taking a handoff in football. I run to the car my other friend was driving and I jump in. My other friends in the first car get out and start running after me and screaming at me like, who the F is this guy stealing our food? My friend and I drive up and the other guys go back to the Taco Bell lady and get mad at her. How could you let a dude steal our food? We want our money back and we will never be coming here again. My friend gets his money back and we all meet up at other friend's house and eat a bunch of Taco Bell. So that's the story. Yes, I know it's robbery and highly illegal. I'm sorry, Taco Bell. Edit. I'm sorry, Taco Bell lady. I hope life has been good to you. That the apology to the Taco Bell lady needs to be an edit to this post, like an addition later on, probably because the comments were being mean, says a lot about how this person is feeling about this. Anyways, I love how this person just full on committed to crime on Reddit, a social media site that everyone can see. It reminds me of the situation that happened last week where a Dutch celebrity confessed to having bought her driver's license theory test instead of just taking the test on an American TV interview, thinking that no Dutch person of significance would ever see that. And it got back at her and they called her and now she needs to talk to them or whatever. It was in the news even. I don't know a lot about this. Anyhow, I know that Reddit is a lot more anonymous than being a celebrity on an American TV show, but still, it could get back to you, and if people really want to, they can find you, even if it's on Reddit. Like, people are smart and people know how computers work and stuff. I do not, but I know that people do, and if they really want to find you, they can, probably. So posting this crime confession on Reddit is probably not the smartest idea, and I don't think you should have done that. But I enjoyed reading this very much because it was interesting to say the least. For some reason, the story sounds like this guy is really proud of pulling this thing off, even though it's 20 years ago. It feels like he's seeking validation by posting this. What other reason would you have for posting this? You're not really apologizing because that was an addition. Taco Bell probably doesn't really care about your apology, so why are you even posting this? I think that Taco Bell is a really big company and they probably won't be missing $50 a lot, but it was just really mean for the Taco Bell lady. They got all mad at her for getting their money back, and I feel like they would have given them the food again for free if they had asked that and not became mad at her. But I also know that wasn't the point of this, but like, you were being so mean to her and she doesn't deserve that. Like, she works at Taco Bell, for Christ's sake. So this was not really a smart thing to do. Like, you're in high school, just get money from your parents. If they don't want to give it to you, you just ask them for food and that's it. It's just really weird that they forced the people at Taco Bell to give them the money back instead of new food, because that's kind of suspicious, I would say. But then again, it was just $50. But the person working there at the time must have had a very bad time. And also, the excuse of doing dumb stuff because you're high schoolers isn't about doing actual crimes. Like, there's a huge difference between asking your best friend to talk to your crush to see if your crush also has a crush on you and then your best friend to come back at you, and pulling off an actual heist or crime. There's such a big difference between those two things, and these are not just dumb high school things. Like, you're still a full-on human with morals when you're in high school, and they were able to drive a car, so they were at least 16 years old, and committing crimes is not typical for a 16-year-old person in most cases. I know that a lot of 16-year-olds are just pushing boundaries and seeing what they can do, and I feel like shoplifting and stuff happens more often for these reasons in this age group, but still, it's not a normal dumb teenage thing to do. There's a difference between those things. Humans. But this was very interesting to read, though. I have one more post to read. It's also very interesting. It's again from Am I Overreacting? Am I overreacting for being upset after my wife blatantly refused taking the elevator with our neighbor? First of all, pardon me for my English, since it's not my first nor my second language. I always love it when people apologize for their language language skills of their not first language, because I always feel like after this comes something that's probably better than any native speaker. And this isn't only for English, because as you can hear, I'm not a native English speaker, but also for Dutch, which is my native language, and any other language in most cases. Like, the accent might not be perfect or native sounding even, and I know that I make grammar mistakes in my videos a lot, even word mistakes, but still, people are more like aware of the grammar rules when you learn a language than when it's your native language, because then it's just all intuitive and that can go wrong, and that's totally okay and natural, but I find it funny. Okay, I wanted to say that. So tonight I took my wife to a concert, and then we still had dinner, all I paid for, since I'm the single provider of our household for 13 years, which became an issue in the last month since I'm dealing with some medical problems. Nothing life-threatening. But tonight I was feeling really fine and relaxed for the first time in a long while. We were even joking and laughing at the table. Then we came to our building and I saw one of our neighbors, a polite lady in her 40s carrying a lot of bags, so I held the door for her. We exchanged a friendly smile, then I proceeded to hold the elevator door open for her and my wife. The neighbor entered, and as I stood like a doorman, I looked to the other side and saw my wife standing there like a stone, with no intention of moving, as if she would get a virus or something if she entered the elevator with her. Then she whispered about getting the other elevator. I felt so embarrassed for that behavior, since I tried to have a good relationship with my neighbors, some I know for 20 years, and it was not the first time my wife caused trouble for me in the building. Still smiling, I made some lame excuse about having to still get some things before going up, but she already had a feeling about what was up. She smiled nonetheless and repeated, "Oh, are you taking the other elevator?" Then I felt my wife's reputation going up again along with that elevator. I find that a beautiful sentence. Now I feel like I need to tell you this neighbor is not some kind of top model. She was wearing old clothes and was just doing some chores, so no need for some jealousy crisis. What I need to tell you about my wife is that she absolutely knows how to behave and to be social, since she's getting her PhD in 2 months and was working on a dead-end job in tourism before I could provide for everything by myself. But she uses her social skills mostly for her benefit, and she never interacted with said woman before. Are you sure about it? Anyway, being academically smart doesn't necessarily mean that you're socially smart either. I'm the perfect example of someone being socially very, very awkward and very not smart, and someone also being academically smart. That feels weird to say about myself, but like, you should read this as that I'm definitely academically smarter than I'm socially smart, which should say more about my social smartness. Anyways, having a PhD or getting a PhD does not mean that you're socially smart too. Even if you have worked with people, which I've done too, you can be socially very not smart. So that is not a valid argument, I would say. I was asking her, why the fuck would she do that? Why spoil a nice night out for doing some childish stuff like that? Then she tried to gaslight me and say people always take different elevators. No plausible explanation, no apologies, just went full lying politician mode. And that pissed me off. We argued and now I'm feeling like shit again. Am I overreacting? I'm not sure. I also don't feel like we have the entire story here. I have a few options or scenarios in my mind of what is actually happening here, and here they are from most to least likely. Scenario 1 is that something did happen between this neighbor and your wife. It feels like she doesn't want to say anything about it, and I don't know why she wouldn't, but I feel like this might be the right thing, you know? There could be so many different things that have happened and they don't even have to involve a conversation. There's probably, I feel like, something going on. Scenario 2 is that the wife just loves watching romance movies, and in romance movies they for some reason often make out in elevators, and you had a nice night with your wife, so maybe she just wants to do that and doesn't want to say it, and after this the moment was broken. I don't feel like this is the smart way to go about this, but it might be the case, you never know. And I don't think that if this was the case, you want your neighbor to be there. The last one that I came up with is that your wife is actually not a very nice person and doesn't want to socialize with people that she doesn't know, aka the neighbors. But I don't think this is very likely. The lift etiquette argument, it's weird. As OP said, by the way, it doesn't make any sense, and I feel like that they know that doesn't make any sense. But it's also just an elevator thing. Maybe you should just let it go. I don't know. You also said that your wife has been mean to other neighbors in the past, and I don't know how to feel about that. But I do feel like this couple is missing some communication skills. Like, there's missing information here in any case, and they should be talking together more. That goes for a lot of relationships that complain on Reddit for things like this, and I feel like people say that a lot. Relationship advice is talking to each other, and that is because it actually works like that. I would argue that talking with your partner is one of the reasons to have a relationship in the first place, because it's something that you should be doing a lot. It's also nice and interesting, and you learn about humanity and stuff. I hope you enjoyed this bit of Reddit drama. I forget sometimes that we are with 8 billion people on this world, 8 silly humans that do silly human things, and I get reminded of that on Reddit a lot of the time, and I like it, because because we're all just humans and doing things, and there are of course bigger problems in the world that humans are also causing and doing and whatever, but sometimes looking at these smaller things is nice and more fun, and you can learn something and you can interact with people, and it's nice. I like that. The people living these stories are probably not having a great time. I also recognize that, and I'm sorry for them. I hope it gets better. Anyhow, thank you for watching my video. If you liked it, please push those wonderful shiny like and subscribe buttons, and then I will see you next time. Ciao!